I know.
Okay. Welcome back to From the Fabricator, the podcast. I'm your host, Max Pearlstein. A little bit of a different sort of opening here because Zoom, what I normally record on, is down at the moment. So it's kind of affected the scheduling for this month, and I'm shooting this on my phone, which I'll then edit into the podcast. But hey, welcome back to the podcast. A fun one this month. Two fantastic women that are talents. They're brilliant and interesting, and you name it. Just a cool pair today. I kick it off with Lisa Lococo Smith from Kawneer. I end it with Jennifer Lang of Minneapolis Glass. I'm really excited about that. That's coming up in a second. Just a quick note. Hopefully everyone got to go to Glass Build and enjoy themselves. What an event. What a show. I'm still buzzing. I think it was a fantastic time. Kudos to the National Glass Association, everybody involved there. My good friend, the OG glass nerd, Andrew Herring, really came to play, even threw me in a van for a couple days, which I think more people are getting a kick out of that. I went a couple days, a couple hours. It was like 9 hours. Felt like a couple days for me because I'm old. I'm a fuddy-duddy. Anyway, it was a good time, great people, and just a wonderful experience. Glass Build America, the van ride there, everything that happened, women in glass and fenestration, the mental health thing with the segment with Dustin Anderson, you name it. It was fantastic. And again, looking forward to next year. All right, so let's get going. Kicking it off, Lisa Lococo Smith from Kawneer. Okay. To start things off this month, this is another one of these interviews that I'm excited for because I've never met the person in person, and I'm being joined by Lisa Lococo Smith from Kawneer. She's in the sales side of things for the Northeast U.S. and the Northeast of the U.S. and Canada. Obviously, you can find Kawneer at Kawneer.com. Everybody knows that. Lisa, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
It's my pleasure, honestly.
I'm pumped because I followed you on social media and I'm a fan, and your past is really, first off, you're an Ohio person. I went to school in Ohio. You're from Ohio. You went to school in Ohio. So we had that little bit of a connection that I followed along, but your past is pretty darn cool. You did not come through the normal channel to the glass and metal business.
Yeah, I didn't start like sweeping a shop floor or, familiar stories that I've heard across the industry. So yes, it is very different.
No doubt. So going back, you were a bartender for a while, which I think is pretty cool because now in the sales position, you're probably used to people pouring out their issues to you. So
I could write a thesis statement on the psychological well-being of humans and what I learned bartending, you can't learn in school.
Right. It's real life. Life. Yeah.
It's real life. And it was as real of a job as I've ever had.
Yeah. And I believe, did I have it right? You did it 13 years. Was that what it was?
It was a lot of years, and it was the same place.
Yeah.
I would say it was about 13 years, and I worked in the same place for all that time.
Yeah. And then you move over into the building product side. How did that happen? I mean, I've seen it before. I've seen people that come from a service side of the industry, and they have those skills, those people skills that we desperately need in our side of the business. How did you get recruited over to building products after all of those years, in the service industry with customers in front of you?
So you can imagine the people that I've met over those 13 years, right? And the people came from every industry. We had blue collar workers, we had, doctors, lawyers, teachers, roofers, construction workers across the board. And one of my favorite customers, his name was Don Kelly. He owned and ran Midwest Curtain Walls here in Cleveland.
Okay.
And over the years of just knowing people, talking, and he said, "Have you ever thought about being in sales?" And I said, "I am in sales."
Yes.
Right? I'm in sales. And we just kind of started communicating in that regard, where he was telling me that he was looking for somebody to sell his curtain walls.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what a curtain wall was, so I had to do some research, right? Sure. And I kind of just walked that path with him. He brought me in to meet his team, interviewed with me, and he had faith in me that I didn't have in myself in this space. And he hired me, obviously, took me under his wing and he taught me. He taught me he didn't teach me everything that he knew,
Right.
but he taught me everything that I needed to know
Gotcha.
to move forward and to grow in this space. And he had been doing it for so long that I often teased him and said, I do wish that I could just put my head next to yours and hit the download button.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would
because
be nice
you can't
if that
learn
existed.
that 40 years of experience that he
Yep.
had. But his faith in me brought me to where I'm at right now.
Sure. And it's, I where I give you a ton of credit is, and there's always this controversy when people grow up in metal, they feel like metal and framing is easier than glass. Those of us, me included, who grew up in glass, we think glass is a ton easier than metal.
Right.
You put curtain wall storefront in front of me, I start to break out in a cold sweat. But you put a triple pane with every sort of glass makeup in the world in it. That's my zone. How was it
Right.
learning the curtain wall side and the metal side? That's not for me. That's not an easy learn.
It's not an easy learn, and I still have a lot of learning to do.
Gotcha.
Right? Because once we stop learning, where is there to go from there?
We're in big trouble, right?
We're in big trouble. But I was surrounded by a team of people who were willing to help guide me through all of the different processes. I sat with each team member for a week and I kind of shadowed them and I asked questions and I listened and I learned. And I didn't need to know everything about the metal and the systems and how they perform and how they go together. I just needed the foundation of knowledge.
Sure.
To not be nervous to sit at a table full of architects and design consultants and general contractors and have the conversation, not be afraid to say, I don't know the answer, but I do have somebody on my team that can help you.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's really important. I don't need to know everything.
True. If you have a good team behind you, and obviously now you're at Kawneer, which is one of the best of the best of the best, that's a heck of a team behind you, obviously. And before we jump into the Kawneer world, any other major lessons for you on your path from being in one industry to joining ours?
I think that, being a little bit, I don't want to say older, but on the older side, you become more comfortable with yourself as the years go on.
Mm-hmm.
So I really try to focus on the customer experience, effective communication, and authenticity, right? I like to imagine how people are hearing the story that I'm telling, right? And how are they experiencing that story? And I find myself considering, what can I do to make it better for them?
Mm-hmm.
By nature, I'm a people pleaser. So it's not any different if you're serving a cocktail or if you're serving up a unitized curtain wall system, right? I think that effective communication, there's always going to be problems. How do you solve that problem and therefore build trust with the people that you work with, that they know that you're going to help them solve their problems? And when it comes to authenticity, in the world of social media and scrolling, I think to myself, if I'm not your person, just keep scrolling, right? Because I want to surround myself with people, not who are like me, but people who like me, the person that I am, and that I don't have to, scale up or scale down my personality.
And that's what drew me to you, is because you come across extremely genuine. So I definitely feel like you're genuine. And I also, I like the fact that, your past experience, they say that the key of sales is overcoming objections. And so, you've had to face some tough times in your career, both at the beginning and now, even now. And I think you have the thicker skin to kind of deal with that, because you've had, it's been a challenge.
Yeah. If you don't have thick skin, you definitely can't do this business. I can't speak for other businesses, but you have to. That is one thing that Don Kelly told me. You have to learn to accept losses. And it's okay. It's okay to just keep moving forward. And, not everyone's going to love you. Not everyone's going to love what you're selling. But when you are authentic and genuine in who you are, and the people that you communicate with, sometimes it doesn't really matter what you're selling, right? Because somebody down the street is selling the same thing that you're selling, but there's not another Lisa Lococo Smith down the street.
No.
And I drive that hard.
And we are a relationship business. There's no doubt. It's all about relationships.
No doubt.
And
I haven't met anybody yet that doesn't know you.
well, that's nice. I'm glad. I'm honored. I've worked there, so it's good to hear. And I like, again, I give you credit, and I put my brother in this category, because folks like you who aren't afraid, to have that door slammed in your face or get that bad news.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it. I do take it to heart. My brother could get the door slammed in his face 25 times, and he'll go knock on door 26. And you come across that same way. No fear, no fear. I love it.
Speaking of knocking on doors,
Yes.
I have learned also that you can't stop knocking, right? Because you
Yep.
can make that first knock today, and you may not reap the benefits of that knock for 2 or 3 years.
That's true. That's
right?
True.
So
Especially in the business,
on.
especially the business you're in. And now, so that's a good transition into Kawneer, because Kawneer deals with small projects and deals with monster projects, and you are in a hot area, the Northeast US, you're into Canada. So, you're dealing with all types. You're at the powerhouse. How's it going? I mean, it's been how many months? It hasn't been a long time that you been at Kawneer. How's it?
It has not been very long. I think I'm just shy of 3 months.
3 months. So how have the first 90 days have gone? How's that going for you?
I mean, wow. I am flattered. I am proud to have landed where I landed.
Yeah.
And kind of blows my mind, it's an unbelievable opportunity to collaborate with such a smart group of people.
Yeah.
These people are most of the people that work with and for Kawneer have been doing it for almost longer than I've been around.
Sure.
And working with those people, learning from them, and this company fosters professional growth. Everybody wants to help you get to where they believe that you can be. Yeah. Right. And I've integrated really well with my direct team and all of the local reps in my region.
Yep.
Meeting with their customers and just kind of, finding my way and where I fit in the collaborative space, like the major projects. And it's been a really fun journey, and I'm really excited for the future.
Just starting to scratch the surface. I love it.
Absolutely.
I'm with Lisa Lococo Smith from Kawneer. She covers the Northeast US and Canada, Kawneer.com. And you may not like this comparison, especially right now, recently, if you're a sports fan, but Kawneer is like the Yankees. They are the Yankees. And I'll never forget when I used to work with Henry Taylor, who works at Kawneer. And
I'm actually going to be with Henry next week for training.
Tell him I said hello. I love Henry to death. Henry's a sweet, sweet man. And I remember when he and I were working together, and he got the offer to go to Kawneer, and he was like, how do I turn that down? I mean, it's Kawneer. Right. So, it's one of those things. It's the Yankees. It really is exciting stuff. And I love that you're there. It's exciting for you, especially the way you've worked your way through the process of this, glass and glazing industry.
I just got chills because I can't, but all I can say is, wow, here I am. I've landed.
Love it.
What are you going to do with it?
You're making the most of it, and that's the best part. And so very cool. And I'm glad you'll be with Henry. So definitely tell him I said hello, and he'll probably shake his head. So that's for sure when you tell him that. So a fun one. I ask every podcast a fun question of my guest, and for you, it's what's on the bucket list for Lisa Lococo Smith. What are you looking at that you wanna get done one of these days?
So I have a personal answer to that and a professional answer.
Love it. Look at how professional you are. Love it.
One of my favorite quotes, it's a small-minded quote from Dr. Seuss that says, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant is faithful 100%, right?
Okay. Yep.
I try so hard to live by that, to do what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And that builds on the trust factor in relationships, right? So speaking of elephants, I would love to feed elephants and ride an elephant.
Nice.
I just have this thing about elephants. They're so beautiful and enchanting. And I would really like to ride an elephant. That's on the personal side.
Okay.
On the professional side, I would love to travel to Dubai and just stand underneath one of those beautiful
Sure.
towers
Sure.
and just feel the magnitude of that glass and that aluminum and that beauty of the space that it fills.
Yeah. That overall system.
Someday.
Yep.
I will be there.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if I'll do a project there, but I would like to go there.
I'm not
you never know.
I'm not betting against you. That's for sure. I like it. I like both of those. I see trips to Africa and the UAE in your future for sure. I like that. That's very, very cool. So kudos to you. I like good bucket list stuff. I like that. You answered that well. So very nice. A couple more questions for you while I have you, because I know you're a busy person, especially trying to get things going there in your time at Kawneer. Any new products, anything emerging in your world, either at Kawneer or you're seeing out and about that has you particularly excited about our world?
This doesn't really have anything to do with Kawneer, but one of the things that I find myself obsessing over is mass timber.
Okay.
In our space.
Interesting.
Because it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to see the shell of the building going up and the integration of the glass on it, right? Because it's so different.
Yeah.
You could get aluminum extrusions that have the wood finish. It's just not the same. That mass timber on the exterior and the interior, to me, is just so beautiful. And I find myself searching lots of pictures and stuff like that, kind of going down that rabbit hole.
We're starting to see more of that. My friends from Champion Glass in San Antonio, Texas, just completed a job with mass timber, and it definitely was I think a good and interesting experience for them. And I think you are going to start seeing that here and there in some spots, because it is a unique and special look for sure.
It is definitely unique and so pretty.
Absolutely. And anything else? Any other products in mind, or any other things that are catching your eye out there?
I think I'm going to stick with that one because there's so many, and I feel like I would just start rambling if I started talking about the products that excite me.
Totally fine. So 2023, we're almost there. So when this airs, we'll have 5 or 6 weeks left in 2022. How is the new year looking for you? How do you guys feel about 2023? And I'll couch this by saying, just got back from Glass Build, just heard the economist talk about how he felt 2023 was going to be a good year. The worry was into 2024, early 2024. What are you seeing, for yourself, from a personal and professional growth, and also what you're looking at, project wise, for Kawneer in the Northeast and in Canada?
We've said in the podcast so far, I'm really excited for 2023, right? I'm only about 90 days into my new path with Kawneer Collaborative, and I'm really excited for the future. We have a leadership group who drives growth, and they give us the tools that we need to find that growth. And the opportunities in the market for the types of projects that we look for are like needles in a haystack, right? So like that project that tells a story that we want to be a part of that story. So I am busy finding those stories and finding that project that is brochure worthy, that you want on the front page of your story. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So in regards to 2023, we're busy. We're constantly growing, expanding, entering into new market segments, and we have the tools that we need for that.
Sure. And
to be a part of that is really exciting moving into 2023, 2024. How does the market look? It's hard to say because you can't always believe what you read.
Right.
Like you always reference, you're a little leery of the statistics.
Yeah.
Where does that data come from? Is it real? I mean, we know where it comes from, but is it real?
Yeah.
Or is there a spin of opinion on it? So Kawneer is not going anywhere.
No,
I'm not going anywhere except up.
Yes. Oh, I believe that. I like the rocket ship that you're on, and I like what you've got going with with just the approach, and again, brochure worthy, website hero shot worthy. Those are good, really, exciting goals to have, and those projects are out there. There's no doubt. I think that the worry is when you have that kind of malaise that we've had with the days that the stock market's down and inflation raging and so on, and you feel like things are down, and then you see these reports that I comment on my blog that say, hey, everything's rosy and great. You're like, well, it doesn't add up. But I think we're resilient as a world and as industry, and we just keep plugging along. And I think you're seeing that, right?
We just keep plugging along and the opportunities are out there.
Yeah. Yeah, all day long. I'm thrilled that I get to spend some time with Lisa Lococo Smith from Kawneer. Anything else you want to add? Because this has been fun for me to get to know you a little bit. Are you a sports fan? Were you bummed when Cleveland lost to the Yankees? I don't know. You worked at you were a bartender, so you had to know some sports along the way, right?
I just faked it, honestly, because
I love it.
I am not a sports fan.
Okay.
Not because I don't like sports. It's just never been a part of the fibers of my being.
I love it.
But
I love
yes,
the honesty. Yep.
I did. I worked on Sundays where the guys were all watching golf, and I'm like, how can you actually like sit here and watch this ball go? But it was the camaraderie and just being around them and listening to their excitement and stuff. So of course I'm kind of a bandwagon fan,
Sure.
when our team's doing great, I'm like,
Yep.
oh, great.
That's
right.
good for the community. Yeah.
But I don't follow the statistics. I don't get upset when we don't do well because I do live in Cleveland.
Yep.
And we are used to the abuse.
You've had some, no doubt the town has had some rough goes, but
Yes,
on the sports side, but it's awesome, and I love your approach on it. This has been fun.
We are troopers, though.
Yes.
Us Clevelanders are troopers. I mean, we just keep going back for more.
No doubt. Ron Crowell, who's the head of Fenatech, is a big Cleveland guy. They're located in Cleveland, and he plugs along. And when the Indians or the Guardians just lost in the playoffs, we were at Glassville together, and I just felt bad. I couldn't even go near him because I couldn't even go give him my condolences because I just feel so bad. You guys have been through so much, and once again, it happened again. So, but
and it always seems like we get so close,
yep,
right?
Very, very close.
So close sometimes, and going back to what we said earlier, having the resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
To just keep moving forward. I just always say, keep on keeping on.
Yep. Absolutely.
Keep doing what you do.
Well, Lisa, you keep on keeping on. You are awesome. I hope to see you at BEC or one of these conferences. You hear about them, you see them. I don't think you've made to one of these yet, have you? Unless I've missed you at one of them.
The last one that I was at was BEC Nashville, right before the world shut down.
Okay,
right?
So in 2020. Okay, got it.
2020. Yep. Was that March? I think that was like the second week of March 2020.
Yeah.
That was the last show that I was at. And I think that onboarding with Kawneer at the time that Glass Build was going on, it was a little challenging, to be a part of that. I would be remiss if I said I wasn't sad about missing the show, but I got a lot of energy from all of you guys. I follow all of you guys, and the energy that was brought forth in the show was beautiful.
It was something. It really was, and it's a shame that you missed it. But you had good reason, just given the timing and everything. And hopefully we see you at BEC. If not, I'm sure we'll see you next year at Glass Build because it's back in Atlanta, and that's a big home for Kawneer. And again, I've enjoyed getting to know you a little bit. I look forward to getting to know you better, and I know that you are going to keep kicking tail there at Kawneer. So congrats to you.
Thank you so much, Max. It was so nice to meet you, and just kind of be a part of what you do.
Thank you. Lisa Lococo Smith, Kawneer, Kawneer.com. Check them out. If you don't know who they are, I'm sure you do.
Right?
But check them out, and you'll see Lisa all over the place because she is a dynamo. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Max. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Okay. Next up on the podcast, another exciting one for me. Another person I'm only meeting here for the first time, somewhat in person. Jennifer Lang, owner and president, Minneapolis Glass. You can find them online at an unbelievable website, which I'm sure I will mention a few times, www.minneapolisglass.com. So it's Minneapolis Glass. Jennifer Lang, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm thrilled to have you. And again, you're somebody that I had kind of on the radar, but then my brother was like, you have to talk to her because she's done so much. I've known her and her family forever, and they're great at what they do. So, but I really don't know you. I'd love to get to know you. So talk about, your path, through life to now being, owner and president of one of the more prestigious companies in our industry in Minneapolis Glass.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And thank you to Steve for connecting us.
He's good.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention him, right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, my journey into the glass industry is similar to yours. I was born into it with glass in my blood, right?
Okay. Yep.
And very similar in the sense that I had no intentions of going into the
I
industry.
love it.
Yes, so I've heard you say that many times, and I definitely resonate with that. So I grew up in Minneapolis. My father owned Minneapolis Glass Company starting in the late 60s. He was
Right.
not the founder. The company's been around since 1937.
Right.
And cute story, he started in the company in 1968, 1 month before he was supposed to marry my mother, because the original owners were friends of my grandparents, and they
Okay.
gave him a job on a 1 month trial.
Oh, wow.
And it worked out. So
Yes.
thank goodness for all of us. So I grew up, being exposed to the industry just peripherally.
Mhm.
I came in like lots of family business members do, to file on the weekends, file paper when we used
Mhm.
to do that, and help out. I worked here in the summer at the front desk while I was in college. And so I always had a connection to the business, but not necessarily a desire to be here. So that being said, I went off to college. I went to Northwestern University, and then was there for 3 years, and then came back to Minneapolis and finished up here, and was planning to go to medical school. That
Oh,
was kind
wow.
of my dream, was to go to med school. And
Yeah.
so I was in the process of applying to med school and doing all the things that you need to do to get to that phase. And was running around like a crazy person, working 3 jobs and whatnot. And my dad said, hey, why don't we have an opening at the front desk. Why don't you come and work at the front desk while you're doing all your other things? It'll give you a little bit more flexibility and such. And so I said, oh, you know what, maybe that's a good idea. And so I came to work at the front desk, and that was almost 27 years ago.
Wow. That is spooky how similar our stories are. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Except you went to a much better school. You went to Northwestern. I went to a Little Ohio University. You're and you wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a sportscaster.
Well,
Definitely you had bigger and broader goals. And that's why you're kicking butt now, because you had those
oh,
those
thank you.
big goals. That's very cool. So you got into the business, you've grown, and you've grown. How's looking back, I mean, it's got to kind of blow you away at everything that you've seen, and the growth and the change and all the positivity that you've got going at Minneapolis Glass right now.
It is really quite amazing. I mean, I think about when I first started and we were writing orders on 3-part forms,
Yes.
and, and then separating them off and sending them through the shop. And, just the growth of the industry and the technology. And we've really tried to embrace a lot of the technology. We almost consider ourselves more of a technology company than a glass company,
Right.
because we recognize that's how we stay ahead of the curve. So that, those things like that just amaze me. After being here for a few years, I actually went back to school and got my MBA, because I
Okay.
felt like I really needed that outside experience.
Yes.
And that was really helpful to bring in sort of that outside the industry knowledge, best practices and whatnot. I was in a very collaborative program, and
Nice.
I loved that. So we are just, yeah, I sometimes I think about it, and I'm just blown away at how things have changed in the last 20 plus years.
It really is. It's kind of stunning, and it's like when you see a picture of people on a bus or a subway reading newspapers, and everybody's reading a newspaper, and you think back to, nobody reads a newspaper now. You never see somebody reading a newspaper, let alone a whole row. So things have changed so much. And before we talk about Minneapolis Glass in depth, there's so much about you that I really dig. And one of the things I saw and I noted to you in my show notes was you had a note on your LinkedIn profile about building communities and careers. And I just and I know you talk the talk and you walk the walk, because I know you're very, very, active in trying to help people. Where did that all come from? How did that bubble up to the surface for you?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to the way I was raised. We were always raised with the intent to give back to the community. That was really kind of a philosophy for my entire family, for both my siblings and myself. And I think that that's both physically and metaphorically, right? I think it's about building our community up, both physically within the construction industry, as
Right.
well as that service piece. And so, because we're a family business, I do look at us as a big family,
Yeah.
and I feel that it's really important to support both all of our employees as well as the industry, and how that gives back, both within the building of the community, and the service to it.
I like it. I like it. And so let's talk about Minneapolis Glass. And again, I'm with Jennifer Lang, owner and president of Minneapolis Glass. Find them online, minneapolisglass.com. Again, my first kind of instance in getting to know you was when I was doing my research for my blog about my favorite kind of under the radar websites. And I came across yours and I was like, whoa, I had not seen a website like that. The design's fantastic. The layout's fantastic. So kudos to you and the team that put it together. But now beyond the website, because everybody will go to the website. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put up some pictures of the website so you know what I'm talking about. But let's talk about, Minneapolis Glass, what you guys do, your bread and butter, been around, obviously, you said, since 1937, and still plugging along. And again, the reputation is incredible out in the industry. Talk about a little bit about your company.
Thank you. Well, I have to say, the website was a passion project for my brother, who's been with the company for about 12 years. Also did not intend to go into the glass industry.
Kudos to him. I love it. I love it.
We roped him in. So, and that was something that we really felt like it was about time that we needed to really step it up, and did a lot of research and work on that. And then our outside vendor. So it was a fun project. It was a labor of love, that's for sure. So as far as what we do, yes, we've been around since 1937. We've done a lot of things. Our goal is to add value for our customers, both in the construction and manufacturing side of the business. So, I always say, when people ask, and obviously people in our industry understand it, but when people ask, we do literally everything with glass, and it's customized solutions. We're really trying to look at each project, value engineer it if necessary, really get in and understand, what are there tight tolerances that are needed, what exactly is the going to add the most value for the customer, what is it that is going to make them successful. And so we have that unique approach. I believe it's not a cookie cutter approach. We're not looking at projects of like, oh yeah, we've done this a million times, we can just keep doing the same thing. We really have that kind of individualized approach for each thing that we do. And we're really trying to make the work a little bit easier for our customers. We want to take the hard work out of it. We don't want them to have to be the glass expert. We want to be that for them.
Sure. And it's definitely working. And I also like the culture you're building there. I saw a post yesterday on, you had a little gathering, you had a gear, people could pick out their gear. That's a nice thing too. So you've built a nice culture at your company. I'm a big fan of company culture, and I think you've nailed that too.
Well, for us, core values are really what guide us. And we intentionally, everybody can talk about core values, but we intentionally really tie everything we do to our core values, and culture is extremely important as a part of that. And we recently did some listening sessions with every single employee in the company, and one of the things that came back was they want more gear that says Minneapolis Glass. So we said, okay, well, that's an investment that's worth making. It's what people want. It's great advertising. And and for our people in the field, they need safety vests, they need hard hats, things like that. If we can put them, if we can make them, part of our brand image, that has a dual purpose.
You can't beat when people are proud to wear the brand on their chest or their back, Absolutely. Or on their head in a hat. That's fantastic. Kudos. That's fantastic. All right. So mixing things up, a fun one for you. Who is your role model and why?
This is a two-part, I think, for me.
Yep. Go for it.
One, I would be remiss if I didn't say my dad. We've worked together. He's no longer involved in the day in and day out of the business, but we've worked together. He's been a mentor to me since I started in the business. He taught me the business. He more importantly taught me not only the ins and outs of the logistics of the business, but really how to be a good employer, a good steward of our values. He also taught me not to take no for an answer,
Nice.
and to be a tough negotiator. and those are important skills.
Yes.
He taught me about being involved in the industry and locally, being good partners with our union. And I think that those things have been really important in my development. The
Yes.
second part of that is I'm in Women's Presidents Organization and have been for about 12 years now. And it's a really important network for me. I've been involved locally and nationally. And the women business leaders that I surround myself with in my groups are an inspiration to me. They teach me things every day about how to be strong and tenacious, and yet and be compassionate as a leader, and I'm grateful to all of them as well.
I love it. I love it. And obviously, you've been so swamped, but we had the women in glass and fenestration gathering and networking session at Glass Build. It's something that we are trying to grow as an industry, and I love that you're involved in it from your side with the presidents, and you're also mentoring other great female leaders in our industry along the way. And so kudos. Great answer. Great answer. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm actually really sad that I wasn't able to be at Glass Build this year for that event specifically. I have terrible FOMO, and and so I actually had a women's presidents conference
Yes.
in Napa. So that won out over Glass Build in Vegas.
I think that was probably the right call. Napa and that, yeah, you probably made the right call for sure. And we're gonna have more. We're gonna have. I think we're
Great.
just scratching the surface with this effort. Folks at NGA like Melanie Detmer and Alicia Smith are doing a great job of building this community up, and it's definitely not a one-off. So there'll be many opportunities, and it'll be great to have you there. So for
Great.
sure.
Yes, I'd love to be involved.
So speaking of being involved and speaking of our industry, I look at you as, again, somebody who thinks outside the box. You have all of these qualities. You've done a wonderful job, you and the family and everybody there at Minneapolis Glass. What can we do as an industry to get better? What are the things that you've kind of put your fingers on, that we should be working on to get better as an industry?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's getting kids excited about being in the trade. We've all struggled with employment issues. I think we've done somewhat of a disservice as a society about telling kids that every kid that has to go to college.
Right.
I know that in my own family that, that's not necessarily the route for everybody. And
Right.
trades are a fantastic way to be involved in a great industry. Securing a fantastic living wage with wonderful benefits, and then again giving back to the community and being able to see what you do physically every day.
Yeah.
Is very, very rewarding, and I think we need to do a better job getting people excited about the trades. And secondarily, I think we need to professionalize the industry. I think, especially the construction side of it. I think, it's always easy to say, oh, well, we've always done it this way.
Yep.
And that, to me, that just doesn't work. We always need to be striving to get better and better.
No doubt, no doubt. And the point about trades is huge. Jody Martinez, who's a great leader from All Star Glass in Spokane, Washington, helped sponsor a trades night out there, which again I think helps push that issue. And you're right, there's been that stigma of college, and we've got to get beyond that. And now more specifically to you, because I know that again, being involved in the president's organization that you're in, a young lady in high school, college, looking at the trades or looking at the glass industry, what sort of advice would you give them? Because again, that is still a bit of a challenge. That's why we have things like the Women in Glass and Fenestration thing at Glass Build to try to, get people to open up a little bit. But what advice do you have somebody who is either looking at it or just starting out in this trade?
Well, I think, again, I think it's a great opportunity. I think there's a career trajectory there that is fantastic. I think, we've really struggled here locally to get more women and girls involved and I'm always a huge proponent of that and of, speaking to people and trying to get them excited about it. I think I think it's a little bit daunting. And so I would tell somebody that, to give it a try. And there's a great path to both build your skills, as I said before, to earn a great wage with wonderful benefits. Our local training center here has an ability to, while you're going through your apprenticeship program, to also earn college credits.
Huge.
And so there's a dual degree program there where you can get an associate's and even a bachelor's if you take a few extra classes. And so I think there's a great opportunity to really write your own ticket in the industry. And I would say, just give it a shot.
Absolutely. No, dead on, dead on. Well, I know you're busy, and I got one more question for you, but I'm with Jennifer Lang, owner and president, Minneapolis Glass. Check them out online, minneapolisglass.com. So the big thing, I think, one of the things you missed at Glass Build was the talk of 2023. Everybody's feeling good about 2023, despite kind of, that overlaying kind of fog that's kind of landing on us, a little bit of worry, with possible recession and so on. But it was like, hey, I think 2023 is going to be fine. 2024 might be a different story, sort of thing. How are you looking at 2023 and beyond for both, you and the company? How's it all looking for you guys?
Well, I'm actually glad I didn't hear the gloom and doom from ITR. That always makes me very nervous.
Yeah, the 2030 gloom and doom from him is frightening. That's all I could say. When he brings up, and I asked him, I'll let you finish in a second. I asked him, he brought up again 2030 is very, very scary. And I said, has that moved at all? Are you still looking at 2030 or is it 2031 now or 2032? And he said, nope, still 2030. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we got a few years left.
Yes.
Well, 2022 has been a good year for us. Obviously,
Great.
There's been a lot of struggles in the industry, supply chain and labor, all the things you keep hearing from everybody. We are optimistic about 2023. I think, as you said, we concur that I think, there is going to be challenges going further, but I think we've got a little bit, at least here in the Midwest too. It takes a while sometimes for things to hit us. So we feel okay about 2023. For us, our sort of mantra is we're going to defy the odds. Whatever is going on out there, we're going to move past that. And so we have some really exciting news, which we just announced last week to all of our employees, is that we are going to build a brand new state-of-the-art facility for Minneapolis Glass, a brand
Wonderful.
new headquarters. Yeah, we are in 2 buildings today, and we're going to consolidate under one larger facility and be able to design it ourselves and set ourselves up for success for the future. So we're investing and we're planning to grow, regardless of what the experts are saying.
My gosh, congratulations. That's exciting news. I got chills on that little announcement. Very nice. That's exciting. So a new headquarters, and I can only imagine being, like you're saying, a technology company. I can only imagine the bells and whistles that are going to go into that place, because you're going to take full advantage of your knowledge base on both glass and other things. Fantastic.
That's
Wonderful.
the plan. It's going to be a big project. It's going to consume a lot of time and effort. I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited about it.
Is it nearby your current location, or are you moving like far away? What's the location setup?
No, we're only going to be about 10-15 minutes from our current location.
Okay.
So it was really important for us to stay within, good highway access near the city, and we really didn't want to increase the commute for our employees.
Great.
That was really important to us as well.
Well, defy the odds. You guys will continue to do, and you're kicking tail out there. This has been a great pleasure for me. Again, I'm respectful of your time, because I know you move a million miles an hour, and I appreciate you coming on with me. Jennifer Lang, owner, president, Minneapolis Glass, minneapolisglass.com is their website. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in person at one of these shows and getting to meet you finally in person one of these days.
Absolutely. This was fantastic, Max. I really, really appreciate the offer.
Absolutely. Same. Thank you. All right, that will wrap things up. Thank you to Lisa and to Jennifer. Definitely fantastic talents. And how about that breaking news from Jennifer Lang? New facility going in Minneapolis. Continue to be one to watch. All right, speaking of things to watch, that's what I usually do here at the end of the podcast. I'm excited about November because Mythic Quest is coming back. That starts, I believe, next week on November 11th. Great fun comedy on Apple Plus. And then Tulsa King on Paramount Plus with Sly Stallone. And that should be pretty good as well. So those are the TV choices I have. Hit me up with what you're watching. Always love to know. I did finish The Sopranos, by the way, and I hated the ending. Sorry. It's just you cannot compare Breaking Bad and The Sopranos because the ending of Breaking Bad actually worked. The ending of The Sopranos, I'm sorry, 6 seasons of that to end that way. Anyway, good stuff nonetheless, still a good show. Thank you guys and gals for listening, watching, supporting. I really appreciate it. We will see you next month. I got so far a setup that should be really, really good. And then the end of the year, a big time special guest. Doing this solo podcast in December. Last year I did Mr. Don Freeze. This year, somebody really special as well. Looking forward to it. Thanks again for supporting. See you next month.
Oh, the music is stopped.